Hey, fourth graders. This is perimeter, pages 277 to 278. I have something new to teach you guys. So let's get started. First thing, I'm going to draw a simple house here. Here's the roof here. Okay, so let's pretend that I want to build a fence around this home I drew here. My question to you is, how do I go about figuring out how much fencing I need to buy in order to surround my home here with fences? So you might say I need to measure all the sides, right? So let's pretend this is 7 feet, this is 5 feet, this is 7 feet also, and this is also 5 feet here. Okay, so you might tell me, all right, that's easy. All you have to do is add up all these lengths, and that will tell you how much fencing I need to buy. Okay, so 7 plus 5 plus 7 again, and then plus 5 again. Okay, if I add all this up, I would get 24. Yeah, 24. 24 feet. Okay, so that's pretty easy, right? So this length, when I added up all the sides here, I actually found the perimeter of my polygon here. Perimeter. Okay, so this is 24. It actually represents the perimeter, the length of the shape, the length of all the sides of the shape. Okay. So let me show you the definition. So the perimeter is the distance around the polygon. The perimeter is found by adding the lengths to all the sides. So just like that rectangle I showed you guys. Sorry, what was it? I think it was 7, 5, 7, 5, right? Okay, so yeah. So the distance around the polygon is the perimeter, and the way we find it is by just by adding up all the sides, adding up the lengths of all the sides. So 7 plus 7, and then 5 plus 5, and I got 24. So that's the perimeter, 24. See, this is pretty much what we're going to be doing today. We're just going to be figuring out the perimeter of a shape, of a polygon, by adding up all the sides. Pretty easy. Remember, a polygon is any shape made out of straight lines, okay? Any shape made out of straight lines, no curves. So let's figure out, how would you figure out the perimeter of, let's say, a triangle? All right, so a triangle is a polygon. Try to draw a straight line. A polygon with 3 sides. Let's say my sides are 5 feet, this is 3 feet, and this is 7 feet. So how would I go about figuring out the perimeter of my triangle here? Well, pretty easy, right? Like what we did before, we just added up all the sides. I can do the same thing here. Just add up all the sides. So I can add up 5 plus 3 plus 7, and I will get 15. 15 feet. So 15 is my perimeter. All right. So we are going to be doing something called formulas. We'll be using formulas today. And formula is kind of like, a recipe or just steps that you can take in order to find the solution for something. For example, the formula for perimeter of a triangle is A plus B plus C. So A representing 5. Okay, so the length of this side here, A, plus the length of the bottom side, B, plus the length of this longest side of the triangle, C. So if I added up A plus B plus C, that would give me the perimeter. Pretty easy formula to follow. All right, so our next shape here is a rectangle. So how would I go about figuring out the perimeter of this rectangle? So we just did it in our beginning example, right, with the fences. All right, so let me label this actually really quickly. So this is a rectangle, of course. Let me label this as triangle. This is a rectangle. And these sides are actually called lengths. Okay, the bottom and top part of a rectangle, they are called lengths. I'll draw an L next to it. And the sides are called widths, or W. So just like how in our first example with the fences, we figure out the perimeter of the rectangle just by adding up all the sides, right? Same thing here. If I added the length plus the length, and added the width and the width together, I would get the perimeter plus with pronounced space. All right, move this over. Oops. Move this thing over. All right, so yeah, just like how you remember how I added up all the sides to figure out the perimeter of that fence. So same thing. I can write that as a formula. I can write it as perimeter equals length plus the length plus the width plus the width, and that will give me the perimeter of a rectangle. There's a different way for me to write this formula. I can, instead of writing perimeter, I can abbreviate it as P. And for instead of saying length plus length, I can rewrite it as parentheses 2 times L. L is length, okay? So 2 times L plus width. Instead of writing width plus width, I can abbreviate it as 2 times W. Okay, W representing the width, the sides of the rectangle. So I can write my formula as P, perimeter, equals 2 times L, length, plus 2 times W, width. All right, so that is our formula that we'll be using mostly this formula today. All right, so let's go over some example. I want to go over some examples to use this formula here. So let me choose a different color. So I'll draw a rectangle. Actually, I'm not drawing a rectangle, sorry. So let's do this. So let's say I have a rectangle and the length equals 3 and the width equals 7. Let's try a different number. Let's say 8. Okay, so I can use my formula here to figure out, I can use this formula to figure out the perimeter just with this information here. Let me make the canvas a little bit bigger. All right. So I just got to plug in these numbers into my formula here. So so P equals 2 times L plus 2 times the width. So I'll rewrite it as P, our perimeter, equals 2. So first step, I would need to rewrite the formula. Okay. They on here in your back books they have a lowercase L. I'm just going to use uppercase L, just to helps keep me from confusing it as a number 1 plus 2 times W. So first step, write the formula out again, then plug in your numbers. Perimeter equals 2 times what's L? 3. 2 times 3 plus 2 times plug in W, which is 8. Oops. And all I have to do is solve this. So we know that whatever you see in parentheses, you get to do those first. All right, in math, whatever's inside the parentheses, that is the first thing you need to do. So P equals 2 times 3, which is 6, plus 2 times 8, which equals 16. Add that together, P equals 22. Okay. All right. Pretty simple, right? You just gotta look at what the length and the width is that they give you. Just plug it into your formula. And that will tell you the perimeter of your rectangle. Okay. Let's go over. Let's do another example. Make this a little bit smaller. So using the same formula I have here. Okay. Let's say that the length was 7. I don't like using 7. We just used 7 already. Let's do 9. 9 feet, and my width is, let's do 2 feet. All right, so my rectangle probably looks something like this. Okay. Just by if I know the length of one of the lengths, 9, I can automatically assume that the opposite side is also 9. Okay. Same thing for the width. If I know that this side is 2 feet high, I can assume that the other side is also 2 feet high. Okay. Because remember, rectangles they have parallel sides. Okay. All right. So I'm trying to figure out the perimeter of this shape here. So again, rewrite the formula. P equals 2 times L plus 2 times W. And then plug it in. To P perimeter equals 2 times, what's L? 9. 9 feet. Plus 2 times the width, which is 2 feet here. All right. So perimeter equals 2 times 9 feet, which is 18 feet, plus 2 times 2 feet, which is 4 feet. Add that together, and I get 22 feet. It's really important that you guys include the unit of measure, okay? Everything's in feet, so I have to write my answer in feet. Don't just write 22. All right. So I think that's, I think 2 examples should be enough for you guys. Let's go over our math page here. Okay. So number 1, find the perimeter of these scale drawings. You only use addition. For additional problems, see. Okay. All right. So you don't want you to use the formula yet. They just want you to add it together. So remember, perimeters. To find a perimeter of any shape, all you have to do is add up all the sides. So for my triangle here, I have 5, 2, and 4. Just add it all up together. 5 yards plus 4 yards plus 2 yards. Add that up all together, and that will give you an answer. Make sure it's in yards, okay? Yeah. All right. Same thing for all the rest of the polygons there. Just add up all the sides, and that will give you the perimeter. Okay. All right. Number 2, find the perimeters of rectangles. So it's important that we know that these are rectangles having these dimensions. Use the formula perimeter equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. For additional problems, see. Okay. All right. So we just did these. The length is 6 inches. Width is 5 inches. First thing you need to do, write the formula out again. Perimeter equals parentheses 2 times L plus parentheses 2 times width. So if I plug in my numbers, perimeter equals 2 times 6 plus 2 times the width, which is 5. All right, make sure you write inches too. Okay, so just solve this and add it together, and that'll give you the perimeter. Next side of the page, the same thing for these. Solve and check the equations. Okay, x plus 7. Okay, you should be able to do these. Some of you guys are having a tricky time with these type of problems. You just gotta reduce it. Okay, so this is improper fraction. If you change this to a proper fraction, do long division, you would get 3, right? So this becomes x minus 3 equals 3. All right, let's draw these figures. If you don't remember these, you can go ahead and turn to page 269 will help you. All right, divide and check. done these before, solve these problems, story problems. You guys can figure those things out yourself. All right, okay, so that's pretty much it. All right, so hopefully you guys understood that. Not too confusing. All right. Okay, take care.